Hello. I'm going to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, which is creativity and how I feel it's connected to being autistic and ADHD. I'm not quite sure what's the main driver for my relentless need to create, write songs, make videos, um, films, write poems, write music reviews. Why do I feel this need to create all the time? And it's only accelerated. Um, but I think since my diagnosis, although particularly in the last year. Now, thinking out loud, that might be because of this YouTube channel, and I've got into that habit of trying to put out a video a week or thereabouts. So creativity spawns creativity, I suppose. But I've always regularly written poetry mainly since I was in my early 20s, way before I knew that I'm autistic. Um, and looking at my notes again, I've taken my glasses off because the reflection on the camera is probably quite irritating for you. You probably see that light bouncing off. I've not thought this through very well. But I need my glasses to see my notes. Um, yeah, I've particularly fond memory of um, well, actually, I didn't write the songs. I sang the songs, and I mentioned this in a video. One of my earlier videos, obviously, would be earlier, not later than this one. Um, and my autistic best friend Alex wrote the songs with his friend Peter, and I have a very happy memory of being holed up in Alex's bedroom while him and Peter directed me how to sing these rather sinister songs. And that album, I showed it up to the camera. Probably ought to have brought it upstairs now, but I didn't know I was going to talk about that album because this is completely unscripted. Anyway, the album's downstairs, and had a great time um, singing these ridiculous songs. And I'm proud of the album, even though very few people have heard it and will hear it. And that is something I was going to try to make sure I mention, is that I create, um, write poems and make these YouTube videos, and I'm not really bothered about how big or small the audience will be. That said, I'd be a liar if I said I'm completely unbothered by the lack of reaction sometimes, particularly from friends. Um, you know, I share. Well, I shared a song yesterday, for example. I put it on my other YouTube channel, and it's just, I just felt the need to put it out there. Um, I borrowed the chords from a Mitski song. I'd heard of Mitski. I might be mispronouncing that. Sorry. Um, but I was reminded of her by someone who had posted their songs or tagged me in two of their songs on Facebook. And she's really talented, the person who posted their songs. And then I realized that Mitski's one of her influences. I listened to a Mitski song on YouTube, and I just took the chords, I Googled the chords, um, and wrote this song, and I've put it on my other YouTube channel. I'll put the link down below. And it's not particularly good. My wife said it's pretty. Um, yeah, I'll take that. What am I expecting? Not a great deal. It's just nice, I suppose, for people to say nice things about what you've created. Um, but what I'm trying to get at, yeah, it's not so much the end result. It's the process. I think that's what I really want to get across. It's the need to be hyper focusing. on a project, and that reminds me of the note that I've made here. So Jeanette, a fellow autist who I've got to know through YouTube, hello Jeanette. She said this in an email to me. Um, she mentioned self-regulation by hyper-focusing on an autonomously controlled task. Self-regulation by hyper-focusing on an autonomously controlled task. And I think that nails it. By being creative, so for example, spending 3 or 4 hours hyper-focusing on this 2-minute song, I was just lost in the process, and it's really self-regulating. And that links back to another quote that I want to share with you now, because I think it does link with what Jeanette has said, and it's taken from an album review. So I've started to write regular music reviews since September. So I write for Joyzine, which is one of the magazines. The other is God is in a TV and Slap magazine. That's supporting local arts and performance. So I write for 3 music magazines, online music magazines. And I was really struck by this particular part of a review of an album, which I think links to what Jeanette said about self-regulation. So this reviewer is writing about this album. I wonder if the meticulous work that has gone into this album is a way of controlling something in your life when so many other things are out of your control. And as soon as I read that, I was like, that's me. I, I, I'm not in control of a lot of aspects of my life, really. I mean, I have to work to pay the bills. That's Monday to Friday. I have another job on top of that. And yes, I did decide to go for these jobs, but, I'm a slave to the wage like most people are. Um, I whilst I chose those jobs, um, I wouldn't choose to work for someone else if I had a true choice. I would love to be my own boss. I'd love to be completely autonomous, and I think that's quite a common autistic trait. That need for autonomy, that control over the day, and people, most people are familiar with the autistic need for more predictability, and that's not predictability like every day is Groundhog Day. That's being able to anticipate what's going to happen. And I think that relates to creativity. I'm the complete master of the whatever project I decide to do, um, and that's self-regulating. And the bonus is that I create something that might actually be good. Um, and this is something I've only recently thought about in relation to making stuff. I mean, when I wrote poems in my early 20s, I wasn't thinking, oh, this is me exercising my right to be autonomous because I'm autistic. I didn't know I was autistic. I just wrote poems, wrote songs occasionally. But it's almost as if now that I know I'm autistic, I've given myself license to create as much as possible. And I think, because work has been quite stressful or very stressful in recent months, I've found being creative as an outlet, as a way of coping with the stress. And, the political landscape is really horrible. Come back to that quote about, from the review about the album, being in control of an album, making that album it's like you're creating a mini world within the real world, which is very, very stressful and frightening. And, you have little control over what's going on. So, creativity is something that I've been thinking about a lot. Um, I've got another quote. Um, it's in relation to the trailer for a horror film that I made. Again, before I knew that I'm autistic, back in 2019. So I had this brainwave of making a horror film, even though I don't really like horror films that much. I don't know why I decided to make a horror film. Um, and the horror film's called Teddy Scare, and again, it's on my other channel, and I've mentioned it in another video. I'll put the link below. Um, yeah, and so 2019, I made the uh, the trailer, and well, with help, I roped two people into it. So made the trailer and the full length version, which I think it's only like 2 minutes long, like really, really short film. So trailer's like 30 seconds. And someone like 5 years later, um, just wrote underneath the video on YouTube, waste of time. It's like, how rude is that? They just said, oh, waste of time. Now, as a way of criticizing what I'd made, well, it's just meaningless. It's just rude, isn't it? Nothing constructive about that. It's not like I did ask them, like, why do you think it's a waste of time? And they didn't respond. They were just being rude. Again, why go on YouTube and take up time in your own day to write negative things? Just move on. Just watch another video. I really don't understand some people. That was clearly designed to hurt me. Um, it, I was irritated, and I was amused, particularly as this comments like 5 years later after I'd made this film and almost forgotten about it. Because I get very little response on my other YouTube channel. I get very little response on this channel at times. But yeah, it's like, why would you take the time out of your day to write such, well, I was going to say such an unpleasant comment? It's not the worst thing that's ever been said in the world, but it was needless. Anyway, they said it was a waste of time. I disagree. I mean, not talking about the merits of the film, like whether it's good or not. I mean, it's not very good. That's the problem when you don't write a script and you just, switch the camera on and hope for the best. Special effects or my low-key special effects did not make up for the gaps in the script, put it that way. But the real point I want to make is that it wasn't a waste of time making Teddy Scare because I had such a great time. It's one of the happiest times in my life making that stupid film. Just, secretively filming on a university campus. Filming in lecture theatres and hoping no lecturers or students hear the actor screaming. Or me, it was me actually, I was the bad guy. Yeah, it was just great fun. It was exciting. And then watched the film back and it was like, that doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense in the sense that I had a great time making it. And, I hyper focused on that film. And I only realized that I'm autistic, over 2 years after I made that film. But I would love to do that all the time. I would love to make films. I'd love to write songs, make videos for the songs. I made a video for a song that I wrote, which I included in my music and masking video, which is one of my favorite videos to make on this channel because it was about special interest, music, and relating it to me being autistic. I would do that every day of the week. I would be so happy if I was allowed to do that. So yeah, this video is about creativity and why it's important to me as an autistic person. I do think it is worth highlighting the ADHD part of my brain. So I'm an ADHDer. That need for novelty. The amount of projects I've started over the years, poems, songs, that I've not finished, just got bored of. Oh, I wrote a play, a kids' play, which was meant to be a satire on land ownership in England. That fizzled out pretty quickly. Well, I say quickly, 20 pages that was. Yeah, so ADHD, classic trait, start things because it's new and then abandon them. Not all the time, but, lots of examples in my life. So there's that constant tension in my mind between the need to be able to anticipate what's coming, but also that desire for novelty, something new, something new to fixate on. This is why, I buy books and then I never read them because, I've got a new book, and then struggle to read the book because of my ADHD. Like a word will trigger a thought of another word. And then I'll be thinking about something else unrelated to the book that I've just bought. So yeah, loads of books that I've abandoned that I've not finished reading. So yeah, my brain is just a constant challenge. But, if it wasn't the way it was, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't have connected with lots of wonderful people, like Jeanette, who I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I know I'm not alone, being autistic and ADHD, and really big positive of having the brain that I have is that I do get stuck into projects, and sometimes people enjoy them, but I was going to say that's a complete bonus. It's not, because it can be quite hurtful when you put a lot of time into something, and whilst it's for me to cope with stress and be to self-regulate, I do want other people to enjoy what I've made, but I'm not dependent on the approval of others. It's great to have encouragement, and the comments. There's so many brilliant comments in relation to, the videos on this channel. They've really kept me going at particular times when I felt really low. But like I said, I've got that inner desire to make stuff, and I'm not relying on people to say nice things to make me make stuff. I'm just doing it and moving on to the next project. So I hope some of what I've said has been interesting and or useful. I think I've covered the theme of creativity in the way that I'd hoped. Yeah, on to the next video. What am I going to create next? I don't know. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, autism related, then please do let me know. So yeah, thank you for bearing with me, and I'll see you in the next video.